Welcome everyone again to today's session. Today we'll continue on our intermediate module. And to you guys that have been following us so far, I want to say kudos to you. You are doing a fantastic job. You are enabling yourself for all the wonderful work you'll be able to do with some of the skills. All right, so now today we'll focus on nested query. And like you know, we like to do it on this particular channel. We're going to use our use case. All right, so let's go to our use case for day 15. So merchandising, finance, and BI teams need a unified view of 2024 product category performance, including number of distinct products sold, total units sold, and average revenue per product. Now, the goal here is to identify strong and weak product categories, monitor category health, and optimize inventory, pricing decision, and promotional focus. And friends, I'd like you to go through the business impact. It's key to know, to have some context in mind. But for this one particular session, I won't go through that. So action is for you to solve this problem. Essentially, deliver a clean 2024 product category performance summary, including total units sold and average revenue per product, and then present it to the stakeholders. All right. Now you have an example here, but in your particular work, you may not have samples. So it's key to really understand how to think about this solution and how to solve it accurately and confidently. All right, now we're going to use our template. First of all, from what we've seen so far, what are the tables we may be interested in? Well, we are interested in orders, but at the product level. So in other words, it's going to be the order detail. If you'll be following us, you know that we've used the order detail in some of our previous use cases. So it's going to be the order detail, and then we should be able to get the product sold, total units sold, then the average revenue per product. Then we should be able to come up with some of the metrics we need. Well, we may not be able to resolve that within one particular query, and that's why we want to look into this for this particular session. Okay, all right, so now we already know is the order detail, and then for the category, we know that we have to go through product subcategory to get the product category. Now for clarity, let's quickly look at our drawing. Okay, our data model, right? So if you look at this data model, all right, and if you're following us so far, you already know that we've talked about this couple of times. So now the other detail we're talking about is here. This is where we need all of our facts and our metrics, right? However, the dimension we need is right here. Okay, so somehow we first of all have to get all our metrics here and make our way back to this particular table, and that quickly tells you that we have to go through this product table, subcategory, and then we'll make our way to product category. All right, so that gives us some context as to what exactly we need to do here. Okay, so with that, let's quickly go back to what we have here. All right, now let's go back to our lab and then let's start the solution. Okay, so now we already know that we are dealing with order detail, right? So let's go back to order detail. Okay, order details. So let's look at select star from order details. Okay, guys, just pay attention, and this is the table, right? And then here we know for sure that we do have the product table, but before that, let's first of all get all of our metrics. So we need the distinct product count, as well as total products sold, and then we need the average revenue per product category. So now first of all, let's do the distinct product count. And so what we're going to do is a count. Okay, and we're going to say distinct, and then we have the product. We're just going to call this just give me a second. Okay, my mouse is kind of okay. So we call this det, and then here we'll call this det dot product, okay, underscore id. All right, and then we'll call these as distinct. Okay, distinct product sold. Okay, let's call it that for now. And keep in mind, I don't think we've done this in this particular session. So if you look at it, we are using a count and distinct. Basically, if you don't put distinct, I'll run this quickly and then you see what it looks like without distinct. Let's run this. Now you can see without this thing you have about 121,317, right? Product. That's not correct, right? So if you use this thing, because some of those product, because at the sales tip as the sales product level detail, what's going to happen is that some product will occur multiple times, so there will be duplicates, right? So when you do this thing, you are basically saying that don't include the duplicate. So let's run this and you can see the massive difference, right? So in this case, please keep in mind distinct means that we want to know each product actually was sold at in that particular period timeline we are looking at. Okay, let's leave that. Let's go to total product sold. For that we're gonna use a sum, and then we're gonna use that dot, and then we're gonna this one we're gonna use order quantity, because is the order quantity that we'll be able to use for this one to get the total product sold. Okay, so we will now say this is called total products, sold. All right. Okay, and then the last one here is the revenue. We've already done this in our previous session, so I'm just going to quickly run through that. So we're going to do that dot, and we're going to say order quantity, okay, multiply by unit price. Okay, all right, and then we're gonna say this is revenue, right? Beautiful, guys, beautiful. Now let's run this. Okay, all right, we need to put comma somewhere here, so we like to put comma at the start here. All right, and then we can run that. All right, you can see what our value is. Now you can see these are just the total value, but there is no, we are not adding any description here. Okay, there is no dimension in here, so we could basically use the product, but remember we're not using the product level information, right? So we need the category level, right? So we need to make our way back to category. Let's quickly do that. So we're gonna do left outer join to products, and that's production. Let's quickly go back there, and we call this P, and then we'll say on p.product underscore id equals to that dot product id, product identifier, and then we go back again and say left outer join. All right, and then we go to subcategory, and then we call this sub, and then we'll say on sub dot. Okay, if we go through this, we have the subcategory, the category here. So we first of all go to the subcategory. I'm just gonna pull it from here, that's why I'm trying to look for it, and then we're gonna say p dot the same subcategory. Beautiful, guys. And then left outer join. Some of you might notice that we are repeating some of this join. I want you guys to get used to it, because you're gonna need it in your day-to-day work or in building your portfolio. Okay, so we call this one cat, and then we'll say on cat dot product category id equals to sub dot product category id. Beautiful. Then we can then add that dimension here, right? We have made our way back to cats category, so we can say cat dot product category id. We can easily just pull that here, and then we can pull the name as well. Okay, so we can see cat dot name as product category name. Okay, let's call it product cat name. All right, then because we've added two dimensions, we're just gonna do group by, all right, 1 comma 2, and that's pretty much it. Right, beautiful guys. So now that we have this information, one thing that we don't have right now is that we want the average revenue. Okay, average revenue per product. So if you go back to our task here, you can see average revenue per product category. Okay, so how do we go about this, right? Because now for average revenue per product category, basically we're going to have our revenue divided by distinct product count. Okay, distinct product count, which is this guy. Okay, so now for us to do that, we need to be able to find a way to do it. Okay, and that is what will bring us what we call the nested query, because we will not treat this nested query simply meaning that your subquery or this particular query, you treat it like a table. Okay, how do I mean? So let's keep going. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to write another select. Okay, let me comment this out and copy it. I'm going to copy and comment. Okay, and then I'm going to try and explain that to you so you really get it. So we're going to say select star from, and then we're going to put in that this query as a table. Okay, and that's this at this point, because we are using query within another query, we call it nested query. Okay, you can see now, let's run it. You're going to get the same result. Beautiful guys. Now what this allows us to do is then it allows us to be able to then perform that average calculation. Okay, so we're going to say product cat name. Okay, we're going to say product cat name. All right, and then we're just going to pull, because we're just going to pull the distinct products sold. Okay, distinct products sold. We're also going to pull the total products sold. Okay, and then we're also going to pull the revenue as well. In this case, I'll pull the revenue. I think it's not in the final solution, but I'm going to pull it for purpose of understanding. And then we're then going to do that calculation. So basically revenue divided by the distinct products sold. So basically product at the category level, right? So we have the sum of revenue at the category level divided by, you can see, for example, okay, actually this will show you. So for bikes, for example, you can see that this is the total revenue and this is the distinct product. So when you divide these two, that will give us the average revenue per product category. Okay, so now let's quickly do that, and then we call this average revenue. Okay, all right, so let's run that. Beautiful. You can see now we have our solution. Now the other thing we just want to do here is that you can see revenue is kind of showing multiple stuff here, and you can see average also is showing multiple decimal, and here also there is no comma. So we're just going to perform some few things here to make it looks good. So we're going to do to char. All right, and then we're just going to I think if you've been following up, we've discussed to char and how it works, but I'm just going to use it for the purpose here. So we're going to say sorry, not for product sold, that's correct. So we're just going to say put all of that in brackets to properly format it. And one thing you have to take note here is that now you see it's in big integer. Once we convert it to char, we are basically converting it to string. Please take note of that. You might need that in your work. So I'm going to do the same thing here as well, to char bracket, and then for this one I'm just going to write 999 comma 999 comma 999 dot 992 decimal, and then as revenue. So just to make it look nicer, okay? So we're going to copy this. We don't need to repeat the same thing. All right, then we're going to copy everything here. And then we're just going to make it look nice, beautiful, guys. And then we're just going to run that. Awesome, awesome. So you can see it's looking really, really great. Another thing we can do here is that we then order by, and we're actually going to order by this product category ID, right? I want it to be in that particular order. So you can see bikes is 1, 2, 3, 4. Beautiful, beautiful. Now this is it, guys. This is exactly what we are looking for. But one thing we left that we didn't touch on is that we also supposed to filter for 2024. Okay, so we need to filter for 2024. So we're going to quickly do that. Because here we did not filter for 2024 and it's already in our requirement. So let's do another join here, left outer join, because the order date is in the sales order header. Okay, so let's left outer join, and then we just pull that table itself. Beautiful. And we can call this order, we could just odd, and then we'll say on, and it's gonna be at that dot sales order ID equals to dot sales order ID. And with that we can then pull in our extract brackets, and then we'll pull in year from, and then we'll just pull in the dot order date equals to 2024. all right, so everything should just work quite well. Okay, beautiful. So that's it, guys. So we can see 79, 37, 36, 44, 63, and 181. So that's it, guys. I hope you begin to get a good understanding of how the nested query works. In our next session, we're going to try to make it a little bit more complicated, but this is the real idea, right? Always treat a nested query within a query, or a query within a query, as a table. That way, if you understand it like that, it helps you to be able to use it correctly. All right, guys, thank you for watching this session. I will see you in the next one.